Now I'm going to read from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Gaurva Bhishtam Supurakam Gauraganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Shri Rupa Patanugam Govinda Abhidamuchwalam Varatanum Bhaktyanvitam Sundaram Bande Vishwa Guruncha Devyad Bhagavat Prem Noi Bijapradam Vanchakopatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vevacha Patitanam Pavenibhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gora Talishe Namo. Okay. So we're hearing from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 12, the cleansing of the Gundicha Temple. Let's see. So I'll begin with verse number 140. Maha Ucha Sankirtane Akasha Varila Prabhura Udanda Nritye Bhumi Kampa Hoila. The sky was filled with the great and loud chanting of Sankirtan, and the earth shook from the jumping and dancing of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Swarup Ucha Uchagan Prabhure Sarabai Anande Udanda Nritya Kore Gorarai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always liked the loud chanting of Swarup Damodar. Therefore, when Swarup Damodar sang, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced and jumped high in jubilation. Emata Katakan Nritya Jay Korea Vishrama Korila Prabhus Samaya Bhujya. The Lord thus chanted and danced for some time. Finally, understanding the circumstances, he stopped. So they're having Sankirtan, having finished cleansing the Gundicha Temple. Acharya Gosaira Putra Sri Gopalanam Nritya Koritetari Agya Dila Goradam. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then ordered Sri Gopal, the son of Advaita Acharya, to dance. Prema Beshe Nritya Kori Hoila Murchite Achetana Hayat Teho Padila Bhumite. While dancing in ecstatic love, Sri Gopal fainted and fell to the ground unconscious. Aste Vyaste Acharya Tare Koila Kole Shvasa Rohita Deki Acharya Hoila Bikale. When Sri Gopal fainted, Advaita Acharya hastily took him upon his lap. Seeing that he was not breathing, he became very much agitated. The Shringar Mantrapade More Jalachanti Omkarer Shabde Brahmanda Jai Fati. Advaita Acharya and others began to chant the holy name of Lord Nrsinga and sprinkle water. The roaring of the chant was so great that it seemed to shake the entire universe. Aneka Korila Tabu Na Hoy Chaitan Acharya Kandena Acharya Kandena Kande Sababhaktagan. When the boy did not regain consciousness after some time, Advaita Acharya and the other devotees began to cry. Tabe Mahaprabhu Tara Buke Hastadila Uttaha Gopala Bole Uchaishvare Kohila. Then Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu placed his hand on the chest of Sri Gopal and said loudly, Gopal, stand up. Shunite Gopalera Hoila Chaitan Hari Bole Nritya Kore Sarva Bhaktagan. As soon as Gopal heard the voice of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he immediately came to his senses. All the devotees then began to dance, chanting the holy name of Hari. E Lila Varniyachan Dasha Vrindavan Ateva Sankepa Kore Korilun Marnan. This incident has been described in detail by Vrindavan Das Thakur. Therefore, I have described it only in brief. This is a matter of etiquette. If a previous acharya has already written about something, there is no need to repeat it for personal sense gratification or to outdo the previous acharya. Unless there is some definite improvement, one should not repeat. Tabe Mahaprabhu Kaneka Vishrama Koriya Snana Koribare Gela Bhakta Gana Loya. After taking rest, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the devotees departed to take their baths. Tire Ute Parena Prabhu Shuka Vasan Nashingadeve Namaskore Gela Upaban. After bathing, the Lord stood on the bank of the lake and put on dry garments. After offering obeisances to Lord Nrsingadev, whose temple was nearby, the Lord entered a garden. Udyane Basila Prabhu Bhaktagan Loya Tabe Vaninatha Aila Mahaprasada Loya. In the garden, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sat down with the other devotees. Vaninath Rai then came and brought all kinds of Mahaprasadam. Kashimishra Tulasi Paricha Duijan Panchashata Lokajat Koraye Bojan Tata Ana Pita Paya Tata Ana Pita Pana Sabapataila Deke Mahaprabhu Manes Santosha Hoila. Kashi Mishra and Tulsi, the superintendent of the temple, brought as much prasadam as 500 men could eat. Seeing the large quantity of prasadam, which consisted of rice, cake, sweet rice, and a variety of vegetables, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very satisfied. Puri Gosai Mahaprabhu Bharati Brahmananda Advaita Charyara Prabhu Nityananda. Among the devotees present with Mahaprabhu were Paramananda Puri, Brahmananda Bharati, Advaita Charya, and Nityananda Prabhu. Acharya Ratnacharya Nidhi, Srivas, Gadadhar, Shankara, Nandanacharya, Ara Raghava Bhakeshwar, Acharya Ratna, Acharya Nidhi, Srivas Thakur, Gadadhar Pandit, Shankar, Nandanacharya, Raghava Pandit, and Bhakeshwara were also present. Prabhu Agyapaya Vaise Apane Sarvabhauma Pindara Upare Prabhu Vaise Loya Bhaktagan. Prabhu Agyapaya Vaise Apane Sarvabhauma Pindara Upare Prabhu Vaise Loya Bhaktagan. Receiving the permission of the Lord, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya sat down. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the devotees sat on raised wooden seats. Taratale Kore Anukram Udyana Bhare Vaishe Bhakta Korite Bojan. In this way, all the devotees sat down to take their lunch in consecutive lines, one beside the other. Haridas Boli Prabhu Dake Gane Gan Dure Rohe Haridasa Kore Nivedan. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was repeatedly calling Haridas, Haridas, and at that time Haridas, standing at a distance, spoke as follows. Bhakta Sanghe Prabhu Karun Prasada Angikar Esange Basite Jogya Nahi Muichar. Haridas said, let Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu take his lunch with the devotees. Since I am abominable I cannot sit down among you. Pache more prasad Govinda dive bahirdware manajane prabhu punana bolila tare. Govinda will give me prasadam later, outside the door. Understanding his mind, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not call him again. So he understood that Advaitacharya didn't want to come and eat with the devotees. He wanted to take Mahaprabhu's prasadam afterwards. Swarup Gosai Jagadananda Damodar Kashishwara Gopinatha Baninatha Shankar Pariveshana Kore Tahan Eshatajan Madhya Madhya Kore Dwane Kore Bhaktagan Swarup Damodar Goswami Jagadananda Damodar Pandit Kashishwar Gopinath Vaninath and Shankar distributed prasadam, and the devotees chanted the holy names at intervals. Pulina Bojana Krishna Purve Jaiche Koila Se Lila Mahaprabhu Mane Smriti Hoila. Lord Sri Krishna had previously taken his lunch in the forest, and that very pastime was remembered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jajapi Primaveshe Prabhu Hoila Astir Samaya Bunjiya Prabhu Hoila Kichudira. Just by remembering the pastime of Lord Sri Krishna, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was agitated by ecstatic love. But considering the time and circumstance, he remained somewhat patient. Prabhu Kohe Moredeho Lafra Bhyanjane Pitapana Amrita Gudika Deho Bhaktagane. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you can give me the ordinary vegetables known as lafra bhyanjan, like some basically boiled vegetables, and you may deliver to all the devotees better preparations like pita pana, cake, and drink, something to drink, and amrita gutika. Lafra bhyanjan is a combination of several green vegetables all mixed together. It is often mixed with rice and delivered to poor men. Amrita gutika is a preparation of thick puri mixed with condensed milk. It is also known as Amrita Rasabali. Sarvagya Prabhu Janen Jareje Bai Tare Tare Se Deo Jai Swarup Dwarai. Since Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is omniscient, he knew what types of preparations each person liked. He therefore had Swarup Damodar deliver these preparations to each devotee to his full satisfaction. Jaganananda Viraya Pariveshana Korite Prabhura Pate Balo Drabya Denua Chambite. Jaganananda went to distribute prasadam, and suddenly he placed all the first-class preparations on the plate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Jajapi Dile Prabhu Tare Korana Rosh Bole Chale Tabu Dena Dile Santosh. When such nice prasadam was put on the plate of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord was outwardly very angry. Nonetheless, when the preparations were placed on his plate, sometimes by tricks and sometimes by force, the Lord was satisfied. Because Mahaprabhu said he didn't want to take the nicer things. He wanted just some simple, like boiled vegetables. But Jaganananda and other devotees put all the nice preparations on Mahaprabhu's plate, and apparently he was angry that they did that, but he didn't. said, nonetheless, when the preparations were placed on his plate, sometimes by tricks and sometimes by force, the Lord was satisfied. Punarapi se dravya kore nirikan tarabaye prabhu gechu korana bakan. When the food was thus delivered, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu looked at it for some time. Being afraid of Jagadananda, he finally ate something. Natkaile Jagadananda koribe upavas tarage gechu kana mane aitras. The Lord knew that if he did not eat the food offered by Jagadananda, Jagadananda would certainly fast. Being afraid of this, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ate some of the prasadam he offered. Swarup Gosai Balo Mishta Prasad Loya Prabhu Ke Nivedana Kore Age Dandaya. Swarup Damodar then brought some excellent sweetmeats and standing before the Lord offered them to him. E Mahaprasad Alpa Koraha Asvadan Deka Jagannatha Kaiche Karyachena Bojan. Swarup Damodar then said, just take a little of this Mahaprasadam and see how it is that Lord Jagannath has accepted it. Eta boleage kechu kore samarpan tara snehe prabhu kechu korana bojan. Upon saying this, Swarup Damodar placed some food before the Lord, and the Lord, out of affection, ate it. E mata duijan kore bar bichitra e dui bhaktera sneho vyabahar. Swarup Damodar and Jagadananda again and again offered the Lord some food. Thus they behaved affectionately with the Lord. This was very, very uncommon. Sarvabhaume Prabhu Vashaya Chena Bama Pashe Dui Bhaktera Sneho Teke Sarvabhauma Hase. The Lord made Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya sit on his left side, and when Sarvabhauma saw the behavior of Swarup Damodar and Jagadananda, he smiled. Sarvabhaume Dhyana Prabhu Prashada Uttama Sneho Kori Bar Karana Bojan. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also wanted to offer Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya first-class food. Therefore, out of affection, he had the servers put first-class food on his plate again and again. Gopinathacharya Uttama Mahaprasada Ani Sarvabhaume Diya Kohe Sumadurabani. Gopinathacharya also brought first-class food and offered it to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya while speaking sweet words. Kahan Bhattacharya Purva Jadabhyabhar Kahan E Paramananda Koraha Bichar. After seeing the Bhattacharya with first-class prasadam, Gopinathacharya said, just consider what the Bhattacharya's previous mundane behavior was. Just consider how at present he is enjoying transcendental bliss. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was previously a Smarta Brahman, that is, one who strictly follows the Vedic principles on the mundane platform. On the mundane platform, one cannot believe that prasadam is transcendental, that Govinda is the original form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or that a Vaishnava is a liberated person. These transcendental considerations are out of the ordinary Vedic scholar's jurisdiction. Most Vedic scholars are called Vedantas. These so-called followers of Vedanta philosophy consider the absolute truth to be impersonal. They also believe that a person born in a particular caste cannot change his caste until he dies and takes rebirth. The Smarta Brahmins also reject the fact that Mahaprasadam, food offered to the deity, is transcendental and materially uncontaminated. Originally, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was subjected to all the rules and regulations of the Vedic principles on the mundane platform. Now Gopinathacharya pointed out how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had been converted by the causeless mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Being converted, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. Being converted, Sarvabhauma partook of prasadam with the Vaishnavas. Indeed, he sat by the side of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Sarvabhauma kohe ami tarkika kuburi tomara prasade more e sampat siddhi. Sarvabhauma replied to Gopinathacharya, I was simply a less intelligent logician, but by your grace I have received this opulence of perfection. Mahaprabhu bina keho nahe doyamoy kakere garuda kore aiche kon hoy. But for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya continued, who is so merciful? He has converted a crow into a Garuda. Who could be so merciful? Tarkika Shrigala Sange Byo Kori Semuke Ebe Sada Kohe Krishna Hari. In the association of the jackals known as logicians, I simply continue to bark a resounding Byo Byo. Now, that's the sound of a jackal. Now, from the same mouth, I am chanting the holy names, Krishna and Hari. Kahan, Bahir Mukha Tarkika, Shishyagana Sange, Kahan E Sangha, Shuddha Samudra Tarange. Whereas I once associated with the disciples of logic, all non-devotees, I am now merged in the waves of the nectarian ocean of the association of devotees. As Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains, the word Bahirmukh refers to a person who is very busy tasting material enjoyment. Such a person always poses himself as an enjoyer of the external energy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Being attracted by external opulence, the non-devotee always forgets his intimate relationship with Krishna. Such a person does not like the idea of becoming Krishna conscious. This is explained by Srila Prahlad Maharaj in Srimad Bhagavatam. Matir na Krishne paratas svato va mito vipadyeta griha vratanam Adanta Gobir Vishatam Tamishram Puna Punas Charvita Charvananam Nate Vidu Smartagatim Ivishnum Durashaya Jay Bahir Artamanina Anda Yatandar Upaniyamanas Te Pishatantriyam Uru Damne Baraha. Materialists who are overly attracted to the material body, material world, and material enjoyment, who cannot control their material senses, are carried to the darkest regions of material existence. Such people cannot become Krishna conscious, either by themselves or by congregational effort. Such people do not understand that the goal of life for a human being is to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. A human life is especially meant for this purpose, and one has to go through all kinds of penances and austerities and set aside the propensity for sense gratification. Materialists always remain blind because they are always guided by blind rascals. A materialistic person considers himself free to act as he likes. He does not know that he is rigidly controlled by the stringent laws of nature, nor does he know that he has to transmigrate from one body to another and perpetually rot in material existence. Such rascals and foolish people are lured by the prayers of their foolish leaders for sense gratification, and they cannot understand what is meant by Krishna consciousness. The material world exists outside the spiritual sky, and a foolish materialist cannot estimate the extent of this material sky. What then can he know of the spiritual sky? Materialists simply believe their imperfect senses, and do not take instructions from the revealed scriptures. According to Vedic civilization, one has to see through the authority of the revealed scriptures. Shastra Chakshu, one should see everything through the medium of the Vedic literature. In this way, one can distinguish between the spiritual world and the material world. Those who ignore such instructions cannot be converted. Those who ignore such instructions cannot be convinced of the existence of the spiritual world because they have forgotten their spiritual identity. Such materialists take the material world as the all in all. They are therefore called Bahirmukh. Prabhu kohe purve sira Krishna tomar priti toma sange ama sabar hoila Krishna mati. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, from your previous birth you have been in Krishna consciousness. Thus you love Krishna so much that simply by your association we are all developing Krishna consciousness. Bhakta Mahima Badaite Bhakte Sukadite Mahaprabhu Bina Anya Nahi Sri Jagate. Thus there is no one within these three worlds, save for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is always so willing to increase the glories of the devotees and give them satisfaction. Gabe Prabhu Pratyeke Savabhakter Namaloya Pitapan Deo Jaila Prashada Korea. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then took all the remnants of food offered to Jagannath, such as rice and pita pan, and distributed them to all the other devotees, calling them individually. Advaita Nityananda Basi Jachan Ektai Duijane Krita Kolaha Lagila Tatai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda sat side by side, and when prasadam was being distributed, they engaged in a type of mock fighting. Advaita ko he avaduter sange ek punkti bojana koriluna jani habe kongati. First, Advaita Acharya said, I am sitting in line with an unknown mendicant, and because I am eating with him, I do not know what kind of destination is awaiting me. Prabhuta sannyasi uhara nahi apachai anadase sannyasira dosha nahi hoy. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is a sannyasi. He is in the renounced order of life. Consequently, he does not recognize discrepancies. As a matter of fact, the sannyasi is not affected by eating food from anywhere and everywhere. Nana dashara maskari a shastra praman amitab rihasta brahman amar doshastan. According to the Shastras, there is no discrepancy in the sannyasis eating at another's house. But for a householder Brahmin, this kind of eating is faulty. Janmakula Shilacharya Najane Jahar. Janmakula Shilacharn Najane Jahar. Korasange Ek Punkti Bora Anachar. It is not proper for householders to dine with those whose previous birth, family, character, and behavior are unknown. Nityananda kohe tumi advaita charya advaita siddhante bade shuddha bhakta karya. Nityananda Prabhu immediately refuted Srila Advaita Acharya, saying, "You are a teacher of impersonal monism, and the monistic conclusion is a great hindrance to progressive pure devotional service. Tomara siddhanta sangha kore jai jane ek bastu bina se dvitiya nahi mane." One who participates in your impersonal monistic philosophy does not accept anything but the one Brahman. Nityan Keno Tomar Sange Mora Ekatre Bojan Najanam Tomar Sange Kaiche Hoiman. Nityananda Prabhu continue, "You are such a monist, and now I am eating beside you. I do not know how my mind will be affected in this way." Emata duijane kore bola boli vyaja stute kore duhe jena galagali. Thus they both went on talking and praising one another, although their praise appeared negative, for it appeared as if they exchanged ill names. Thus they both went on talking and praising one another, although their praise appeared negative, for it appeared as if they exchanged ill names. Tabe Prabhu Sarva Vaishnavar Namaloya Mahaprasada Dena Maha Amrita Sinchya. Thereafter, calling all the Vaishnavas, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed Mahaprasadam as if sprinkling nectar. At that time, the mock fight between Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu became more and more delicious. Bhojana Kori Ute Save Haridwani Kori Haridwani Utila Sav Swarga Nrityabari. After taking their lunch, all the Vaishnavas stood up and chanted the holy name of Hari, and the resounding noise filled all the upper and lower planetary systems. Tabe Mahaprabhu Sab Nija Bhakta Gane Sabakare Shri Haste Dila Maya Chandane. After this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu offered flower garlands and sandalwood pulp to all his devoted personal associates. Tabe Pariveshika Swarupadi Sarvajan Rihara Viture Tabe Pariveshana Swarupade Satajan Grihera Vitare Koila Prashada Bojan. The 7 persons headed by Swarup Damodar, who were engaged in distributing prasadam to others, then took their meals within the room. Prabhura Avashesha Govinda Rokila Dariya Se Ana Harira Se Kichu Dila Loya. Govinda saved some remnants of food left by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and kept them carefully. Later, one portion of these remnants was delivered to Haridas Thakur. Bhaktagan Govinda Bas Kichu Maginila saved Prasadana Govinda Apane Bhaila The remnants of food left by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu were later distributed among devotees who begged for them, and finally Govinda personally took the last remnants. Swatandra Ishvara Prabhu Korin Nanakela Doya Pakalanam Koila Eklila. The fully independent Supreme Personality of Godhead performs various types of pastimes. The pastime of washing and cleansing the Gundicha Temple is but one of them. So, tomorrow we'll continue. Tomorrow we'll hear of the Netrotsava, the festival where the Lord, after so many days, has not been visible after Snanyatra. Now the Netrotsava, they can see the Lord, and then the next day is the Rathayatra. So tomorrow we'll read about that. Now I'm going to sing Hari Haraya. Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Nama Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Jaravaya Maravaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shrimari Sudan Gopal Govinda Ram Shrimari Sudan Giridhari Gopinatha Maranama Giridhari Gopinatha Maranama Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Chandra Janardan Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Vrinda Janardan Shiva Sari Gora Bhakta Vrinda Charupa Sanatan Bhakta Raguna Arupa Sanatan Bhakta Raguna Sri Jiva Gopala Bhakta Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharvika Giridhari Jo Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Statara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Tilak Neri Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Statara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Nirmalacharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Ashtatara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravajakacharya Ashtatara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Rakak Srila Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Srila Gaur Kishordas Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Ragana Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Ragana Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsigo Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Shri Gaura Bhaktisiddhanta Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Sri Garga Samhita Ki Jai. Vishwavaranya Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Kusham Ashram Maharaj Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Shri Ram Mayapur Ki Jai. Saparshada Shri Nityananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Saparshada Srimad Mahaprabhu Ki Jai. Shri Koladev Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Maharani Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavanam Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Govardhan. Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai. Shri Purushottam Madam Ki Jai. Baladev Subhadra Jagannath Jo Ki Jai. Bhakti Vigna Vinashaya Shri Nrsingadev Ki Jai. Bhakta Prabhata Shri Prahlad Maharaj Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Sripad Bhakti Raman Madhav Maharaj Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.